What's going on, guys? This is Cam from Solvexmedia. In today's video, I'm breaking down why traffic is not your problem and how to profit hack the traffic you are getting for more conversions. If you're suffering with any of the following, you have what we call after the click problems: low sales conversions, low add to cart, high bounce rates, low average order value, low repeat purchase rate, high customer acquisition costs, and the inability to scale paid traffic. You've done everything to sell the click. You've gotten someone to your conversion mechanism, whether this is a website or a landing page, but now you're struggling to convert them into paying customers. This is what we call after the click problems. So are you sure you really have a traffic problem? In a world where these marketing agencies and these gurus are preaching traffic, the sad reality is you can't control the cost of traffic going up. We've seen CPMs on Facebook and Instagram increase 30 to 40%. The best media buyers in the world cannot combat that when it comes to customer acquisition costs. So as opposed to focusing on traffic, focus on what we call conversions, which is the rate at which you convert visitors into paying customers. Most businesses today, they don't have a traffic problem. Just like you go to the supermarket and buy groceries, you can go to the traffic supermarket, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and buy clicks. There's an infinite amount of clicks you can go out and buy, as long as you're willing to pay. But again, what is the point of a click if you can't convert it? And this is what brings me to the leaky bucket. Most companies today, they're pouring in traffic from all these different sources. They're pouring in water from all these different sources, right? But they don't realize that bucket that they're pouring people into has a bunch of holes. And if you don't patch those leaks, it's only gonna cost you. These media giants do not give a damn about how much you spend and what your return on investment is. So what I'm gonna be focusing on is, again, your store. Your problem is your store, not your traffic. Now, this brings me to my favorite topic, and that is conversion revenue optimization. I will briefly explain what conversion revenue optimization is, but it's my favorite marketing activity. And the reason for that is it has been proven that CRO brings back 92x when it comes to return on investment. This outbeats email marketing. This outbeats paid media. This outbeats SMS marketing. This outbeats any marketing activity you can do today to get a return on investment. So why aren't you doing it? Now, what is CRO? It is a data-backed system for increasing the percentage of website visitors that convert into customers, or more generally, take any desired action on your website. Now, if you guys realized earlier, I said conversion revenue optimization and not conversion rate optimization. And that is the term most marketers are using today. So what is the difference? Well, conversion rate optimization are basically small levers you can pull in your business to increase your conversion rate, whereas conversion revenue optimization are those big levers that give you those juicy increases when it comes to your conversion rate. So what are some examples of conversion rate optimization? Split test a new headline on your product page, or change the location of your buy button. Whereas conversion revenue optimization examples consist of redesign, rewrite, rebuild the entire product page and split test that, then figure out why it worked. Or change the positioning of the offer from buy this product to get your ultimate date night bundle. So you can see these are massive differences when it comes to the magnitude of these tests. And regardless of the way you do these tests, you still need to split test to have statistically valid results. So why are massive brands allocating massive budgets to CRO? Why is CRO the hottest thing for direct-to-consumer brands today? Well, one, consumers visit websites with a clear purpose and intent. However, companies often create unnecessary complexities that hinder their ability to find what they need. Two, brand loyalty has reached its lowest points. Three, you're just not competing with your rivals, but also with most exceptional digital experiences worldwide. And four, acquiring new customers is becoming more difficult and competitive, leading to higher costs. Now, before I show you guys live examples of how effective CRO has been, it's very important to note CRO is a process. It takes time and there is no way around that. Now, these are 4 things that if you don't do, or if you don't acknowledge, it will immediately disqualify your chances at success when it comes to CRO. One is your opinion doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, the data speaks, the end user speaks, and if you don't follow that data, you've lost half the battle. 2, assumptions are your worst enemy. Test. This is the number 1 rule in marketing. 3, get data or die trying. Data is today's gold. Data is today's oil. The more data you have, the more successful you will be when it comes to understanding what is going to get more people to pull out their credit card and purchase. And 4, no amount of CRO will ever fix a bad offer. You guys have heard the offer is king. If you don't get your offer right, anything else you do in your business does not matter. Now, to understand how effective CRO can be for your business, I have a quick example. Let's say you were to reduce your bounce rate by 10%, which is the percentage of people who leave your website within 5 seconds. If you were to reduce that by just 10%, you would cut the cost of your traffic in half, by 50%. Now, here's the math behind it. Let's say you had 1,000 visitors come to your store at an average cost per click of 50 cents, right? Cost per visitor is 50 cents. That means the total cost of traffic is $500. Now, let's say your bounce rate is on par with industry averages and it's 90%. That means of that 1,000 individuals, you're only gonna have 100 people left on your website. That means your real cost per visitor is $5. So your traffic is 900% more expensive than you think. So going on, if we were to come in and reduce your bounce rate by 10%, right? Just 10%, your new bounce rate is 80%. Now let's take the same 1,000 visitors you had and reduce your bounce rate to 80%. That means you only have 200 visitors on your store. But those 200 visitors now cost you significantly less, as opposed to the last example, which was $5 per visitor. Now it's cut in half, it's $2.50. To my point, a 10% reduction in your bounce rate has cut your actual traffic cost down by 50%. Now, here's what you don't know about your traffic. 70 to 90% of the traffic that visits your site will actually leave without doing anything. This is your bounce rate. You can see this in your Google Analytics. Strongly recommend you identify this number and start optimizing it ASAP. Now, of that percentage of people who do stay on your website, 84% will leave after looking at a product they're actually interested in. 8.5% will add the product to their cart and then they'll never check out. 5% will add to cart, start filling out payment details, then they'll abandon the checkout, and only 2.5% on average will actually complete the purchase. Companies die of indigestion, not starvation. You're not starving for traffic. You have traffic. You just can't digest that traffic. It's not getting to the bottom. It's not getting to the bottom of the funnel. So revenue optimization is the cure to poor store digestion. Revenue optimization is not specific to any niche or industry, business size, amount of revenue, and types of products. It is the number one lever you can pull in your business today to see a radical increase in your profitability. Most companies, again, are focusing on traffic. We're focusing on revenue optimization. That's why our clients are absolutely killing it. The number one rule in marketing is whoever can spend the most to acquire a customer always wins. If everyone's battling to reduce their cost per click by 10%, 20%, their CPMs by 10%, 20%, and you're just focusing on how you can increase your conversion rate from 3 to 3.5%, your AOV from $35 to $65, you've won the battle, because it is significantly easier to increase your conversion rate from 3 to 3.75% than it is to reduce your customer acquisition cost from $25 to $15. So how do we do conversion revenue optimization? This is the concept that's improving your conversion rate and the revenue that drives it. So there's 3 things we do here. 1, we drive large increases in our golden metrics, earnings per session. I'll talk about that in a bit. We drive large increases in incremental revenue. I'll talk about that in a bit. And 3, we take a direct response marketing approach combined with user experience improvements. And we do this by 1, creating irresistible offers, 2, utilizing direct response messaging that speaks to your customer, not the brand, and 3, looking for hidden market segments and avatars. We're more concerned with driving greater increases faster than knowing exactly why our tests have worked or failed. It's a faster route to statistical significance. Now, what is earnings per session? This is our golden metric. This is the number one metric you need to understand in your business and continuously optimize. Earning per sessions is your conversion rate times your average order value. What this equates to is the average amount of revenue we expect from one session on our website, aka revenue per session, earnings per click, slightly different, revenue per session. And these metrics all in a way mean the same thing. So I'll give you an example. Let's say your conversion rate is 3.5%, your average order value is $49. That means your earnings per session is $1.71, $1.71 earnings per session. Now, The second metric you need to optimize when doing CRO is incremental revenue. Earnings per session leads to incremental revenue, but there's a formula that helps us understand the incremental revenue of each test. It's your new earnings per session times your new sessions minus your old earnings per session times your old sessions, okay? And that is what's gonna give you incremental revenue. Now, we drive earnings per session increases and incremental revenue increases through split testing. Now, when we do revenue optimization, we look to those small tweaks that are going to give us those big wins. We start off by understanding the buyer's journey. In this instance, in an e-commerce funnel, this is the sequence of steps people go through. So we're going to sort of reverse engineer it and go from where they're basically at the highest intent to the lowest intent. So the thank you page, the checkout process, the shopping cart, the product page, the category page, and the home page. The thank you page, this is usually where you can have your upsells and cross sells. The best time to sell to someone is when they've already purchased the product. So this is a great opportunity to increase your AOV. Your checkout process, we've seen abandoned checkout rates be around 70%. 70% of people who are about to purchase don't purchase. This is where you can literally mitigate any risk one has with trust badges to get them to that next step, which is that thank you page. The shopping cart, again, this is usually where there's questions, there's doubt, there's the objections that you fail to answer on the product page that you need to answer to get people to that next step, and so on and so on and so on. So when you really understand this entire funnel, well, now you can sort of in a hierarchy start conducting a lot of your tests. Start from the thank you page, go all the way back to the home page. So this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to revenue optimization. Start off by just stopping the leaks. These are basic customer journey optimizations that are enough to double your revenue from the same amount of traffic. It's that easy, guys. Put on the patches. If you take anything away from this training, you don't need to be better at traffic, but you do need to be better at revenue optimization. So in short, revenue optimization is about more profit and less guessing. And the sad reality is most people today, when it comes to CRO, are just making a bunch of assumptions and hoping something sticks. A few assumptions I've heard is there's a single good conversion rate or benchmark. So everyone's like, oh, if we hit 3%, we've hit it out of the park. We hit 4%, we've hit it out of the park. That's not true, guys. There's never a single good conversion rate. You can always improve, and that's why you gotta understand those contextual baselines you've laid out for yourself. Hey, today we're at 3%. Let's aim for 3.5. Let's go from 3.5 to 4%, from 4% to 4.5%. It's a continuous process. 2, a redesign will solve all conversion problems. That's completely false. You need to do what we call exploratory testing. You need to be testing each of those different levers. You can start off by understanding your customer journey and optimizing some of those higher intent actions, and then conducting some of those smaller tests. And then 3, bigger tests or better tests in reality. That's not true. And this brings me to the reality of things, which is continuous testing always works. Test, test, test. Never get comfortable. You have a headline that's getting you a conversion rate of 3.8%. Try another headline. Try another headline. Always use that control with new variables on a bi-weekly basis. And this way, you will always find that, hey, we can increase our conversion rate by 10%, 15%, 20%. And when you have that mindset, you'll never lose. You'll never lose, and you'll combat all these increases when it comes to traffic costs. Now, when conducting your CRO test, you have 2 options, the bad, the good. The bad is prescribing, then diagnosing, and getting meh results. The good is diagnosing, prescribing, and improving your customer experience. The bad is like going to a doctor, and the doctor doesn't even talk to you, doesn't even look at you. He says, here you go, this is your prescription. Go on and see what happens. The good is you go to your doctor, and he asks you a bunch of questions, he conducts a bunch of tests, and then he prescribes you a special medicine to your problem. That is how you can get the most out of your test. You need to constantly diagnose the problem, then prescribe from there, and that's how you're going to see the best results. So everyone watching is probably a business owner looking to make more money. Here's the truth to how all this CRO magic actually will contribute to your bottom line, to your top line revenue. So this is a client of ours. They were getting around 160,000 sessions a month at an average conversion rate of 1.25%. Their AOV was 200, which is great. And at the time, their projected revenue for the year was around $4.8 million. So we sort of did the math, and we're like, look, if we can increase their conversion rate by 5%, which would take their CVR by 1.25% to 1.313%, that would add around $240,000 in revenue. If we were to take their conversion rate and add 10% to it, it would add $477,000 in revenue. And if we were to add 20% in conversion it would take their conversion rate to 1.5%, and that would add around $954,000 in revenue. That is the power of CRO when done right. And 20%, in my opinion, is aiming low. It really is. So small changes can have a massive impact when it comes to your top and bottom line revenue. Start testing. So you guys saw those juicy results. Now, how do you get those results? Well, you need to start off by understanding what split testing is. Well, you have a control and you have a variant. A control is the current version that's live. A variant is the new version. So you're going to be testing different variants against your control. We send around 50% of the traffic to the control, 50% of the traffic to the variant, and then we track revenue sessions and the conversion rate for each. When split testing, you need to understand how to control your variables. As much as we can, we control the variables like traffic quality, seasonality, and time of the week. Imagine running one variation during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then one during July, which is like dead. The best way to split test your traffic is usually utilizing softwares. So I'll talk about some of the softwares we use at Solvexmedia to conduct these tests. But before I do that, remember, CRO is a double-edged sword. There are endless options to test, and inside out, CRO is a way to prioritize those tests via choke point reduction, understanding what's holding people back from that next step. Because again, people are going through a sequence of steps before they pull out their credit card and purchase. So this is what takes the guesswork out of what to test and when. When we look at an e-commerce funnel, it's a sequence of steps and actions that people are taking to get to that, again, point where they're pulling out their credit card and purchase. That sequence varies from user to user, but in most instances, it's consistent. So for us, when we go in and we want to do tests, we're like, okay, where can we see the highest increases when it comes to CVR and AOV? So we focus on the upsells, the checkout, the cart, and the sales pages and the landing pages. Everything after that doesn't get much of our attention. Once we feel very, very confident in those 4 pages, that's when we can sort of go on and do some of the other tests. Again, you guys want to pull the biggest levers to see the biggest increases in CVR and AOV. There's so many tests you can conduct. So sort of narrowing down and understanding, okay, this is what's going to get us the highest return for our time and dollars today. Focus on that, and then you can sort of move down the hierarchy as you guys do more and more tests. So earlier I told you guys I'll break down some of the software and tools we use at Solvexmedia to conduct our tests. But in short, really guys, all you need is a tool that split tests traffic, tracks the journey and the purchasers of the end user. 2, uses statistical models to provide recommendations for winners and losers. 3, we need to make sure it works with our tech stack. So if you're using Shopify, does it integrate within? 3, do not waste weeks and hours trying to figure all this stuff out. Guys, any software when starting out is going to add value to what you're doing. Remember, these softwares are always adding new features and changing as well. And most importantly, until you're hitting your limits with your current software, there's no need to switch, right? Everyone's looking for that new shiny gadget. Many of our clients that are doing massive numbers are still on Google Optimize, which is like very bare bones when it comes to CRO testing. Now, our research methodology is very, very important because it enables us to understand the customer better. And if you're going to give someone the right experience, you better start off by understanding them. A few things you can look at is heat and scroll and click maps, session recordings, analytical modeling, live website surveys, user journey mapping, personal profile development, customer reviews, competitor analysis, A/B testing, and then prototyping. Now, how to get started, right? The tech stack. When it comes to data, GA4, Google Analytics 4, Data Studio. When it comes to user tracking, Hotjar, Mouseflow, and then A/B testing tools, Google Optimize, VWO, Optimizely, and then A/B Tasty. VWO is my favorite. We do a bunch of tests for some of our bigger clients there. It is a bit pricey, but again, if you're just starting out, Google Optimize can definitely do the trick. So what is the typical CRO process? Well, we like to start off with qualitative research, industry analysis, competitor analysis, audience analysis. When we look at your audience, demographic, psychographic, behavioral characteristics, really understanding them to a T. When it comes to quantitative research, is understanding some of the primary metrics within your business that we're looking to optimize, and that sort of brings us to the next phase, which is prioritization, right? So like, for example, if you're looking to test different headlines, narrow down on one customer profile and sort of the angle that you're going to be going after when it comes to speaking to them within that headline, the offer you're going to be making towards that audience. Everything needs to be very narrow and direct, and that's why we really focus on prioritization. And then the hypotheses, which is just, again, the conclusion of, okay, we're going to test X and Y and the reason behind that, actually conduct the test, and then constantly monitor your results. Give it at least 2 to 3 weeks, depending on your session size, obviously, to come up with hopefully a variant that beats the control. And if you can have a few variant that beats the control, you're going to be a much richer business owner. So common practice for CRO at Solvexmedia. Common practice: let's make our landing page better. Choose a layout or design based off feeling or intuition. Execute the change without a well-defined strategy, and then compare before and afters. That's what most CRO agencies are doing. That's what most business owners who are doing these tests themselves are doing, and that's why the results are very insignificant. What we do at Solvexmedia, first we understand a clear pain point and we identify that. So for example, a landing page has 20% lower engagement rate. We audit the page performance with various different metrics: bounce rate, average time spent, conversion rate, exit rate, a bunch of other metrics. Then we conduct A/B test variations. So we do the development, we do the testing, we do the designing, we do the launching, and then we're always monitoring these results. So we like to compare both versions in real time. And that is why we've been very, very successful. And on average, our landing pages, our websites convert 286% higher than industry averages. We never get comfortable. We never let intuition or feelings or past data indicate how we do things. We're always going into every business with a clear mind and saying, look, what's worked in the past might not work today. Let's let the users, the end audience, the individuals who are pulling out their credit card do the decision making, and we'll take that data and we'll make decisions off it. So now we're going to be looking at some of the use cases that you can apply in your business when it comes to A/B testing, so you can increase 1, your conversion rate, and then 2, your average order value. This company saw an 11% increase in average order value by 1, finding an aesthetically pleasing way to structure their offering and preempt people to taking the bigger offers, the bigger bundle. So when you look at the 2-pack, 3-pack, they've already done the math on behalf of the end user to say, hey, if you take the 2-pack, you save $7. You take the 3-pack, you save $14. Great way to structure your offering in a way that incentivizes people to take the bigger offering. Now here you can see once people add to cart, they're actually being cross-sold complementary products or products they can use as well. And it's a very, user-friendly way to structure your upsells, cross-sells, and this company has seen the click-through rates on these offerings be very, very high. So that's one of the tests we've seen great improvements when it comes to average order value. Now the second test we're going to be looking at is a regular cart versus slide out cart. This is Boom by Sydney Joseph. By the way, we didn't conduct this test, but we found online sort of Ezra Firestone's findings from this test, and I thought it would be fair to bring it to your attention. So this is basically a cart page redirect versus slide out cart, and the cart page redirect actually wins this test. Now let's look at the rationale behind why. A slide out cart was tested against a normal cart that redirects to a cart page, which is the control. The slide out cart allows customers to still have the option to upgrade and keep shopping. The control test won this test with an average revenue per user dropping from $10 to $8 at a 1% confidence, and the conversion rate decreases by 13.6% with the slide out cart. As you guys can see, the control won this test big time. So the third test we're going to be looking at is comparing products in the actual upsell, right? So which products we showcase for the end user to take as an upsell. So there's going to be product A, product B. We can't disclose it because client didn't want us to disclose this test. This is basically a simple comparison of placing different products in the cart checkout upsell box. The 2 products that were tested in this situation were product A, product B. When customers took the action to check out, they were prompted with them to add either product A or product B. Product A significantly outperformed product B with nearly a 12% higher conversion rate and $2.30 more per visit, and over $5,000 in more revenue despite fewer visits. So guys, when testing, test the products that you're actually offering as an upsell, because they can bring radical differences when it comes to your revenue per session and your conversion rate. Now, the fourth test we conducted was a testimonial as a product title versus a product name, and the testimonial as a product title wins big time. Now, this is typically because people know the name of the product, so this test was simply replacing the product title with the testimonial. The revenue per order increased from $7 to $41 at 100% confidence, and the conversions were up from 7% to 23%. Insane. The fifth test conducted is a sticky add to cart on mobile. So this basically means as you scroll on mobile, let's say you have a long form product page, they constantly see the add to cart button. So at a click of a button, they can get to the next phase. So the add to cart is following the scroll. Again, what was tested is the sticky add to cart versus a non-sticky add to cart, and the sticky add to cart wins. We basically saw the sticky add to cart CTA button visible while scrolling on the product page, and the results show an increase of 46 cents per user on 64% of the sessions, and obviously that's a big win. 46 more cents per user. So if you're getting 100,000 people, guys, do the math. Big difference. To conclude, there are 3 CRO misconceptions. 1, there's a single good conversion rate or benchmark. That's never the case. 2, a redesign will solve all our conversion problems. And 3, bigger tests are always better tests. That is it for me, guys. If you guys got any value, if you need help when it comes to optimizing your conversion mechanism for more conversions, if you're tired of spending more dollars on ads, hearing your ad agency complain about this and that, when the problem is simply just your conversion mechanism, if you are looking to get more out of your pre-existing traffic without spending more on ads, without changing your media buying strategy, without changing your media buying agency, feel free to reach out to me, give you guys a free audit, assess your current situation, and we will see whether or not we're a good fit to work with one another. Guys, this is Cam from Solvexmedia. Thank you for taking the time to listen in. I will see you guys soon.